I'm Isabella, and this tutorial is on the Advanced Dataflow debugging tool in Active-HDL. The Advanced Dataflow tool allows users to explore the connectivity of their design and trace different events during simulation. This tutorial will show you how to enable the settings for Advanced Dataflow, the different displays we can view our modules in, and how to use the menus within the Advanced Dataflow window. We're actually going to start by opening up one of the pre-made examples in Active-HDL, which can be found by going to Help, Open Example, and we want to pick the data path example in VHDL Designs. Once it's open, it's very important to check if the debugging and Advanced Dataflow settings are enabled. To do so, go into Design, Settings, and if we look under Compilation, there's a VHDL and Verilog where we could enable debugging in. Whichever we enable in depends on what language we're using in our design. We can enable both or just one of them. Since we have only VHDL, I'm just enabling debug in VHDL. In the Simulation tab, make sure you check Generate Data for Advanced Dataflow, hit Apply on both of them, and push OK. Now we can compile this pre-made code and initialize the simulation to get to the debugging. Once it's initialized, you can finally open the Advanced Dataflow windows by going into View and Advanced Dataflow or pushing the symbol right there. It gives you this window and it gives you this new Advanced Dataflow tab with a couple of things we'll go over later. Since the window is blank, we could start adding whatever we want in a couple of different ways. We could pick whichever layer of the hierarchy we want in the design browser and push Add to Advanced Dataflow. To remove anything, we push Delete in our keyboard or this red X here. We can also just drag and drop it into the Advanced Dataflow window, or right-click and push Add to Advanced Dataflow or Add recursively. If we add to Advanced Dataflow, that's the same like the previous two methods. It gives you just the single module, and that's it. If you add recursively, though, it gives you every single layer that's inside it. Pretty much the same as right-clicking and expanding all in your design browser. Whatever you select in the window is highlighted in red, and you can highlight just small sections or drag to highlight larger areas. And then you can easily remove those areas with the red X or by pushing Delete on your keyboard. Now, if we go up back to the top layer of it and right-click in the empty space and push Hide, that's pretty much the same thing as right-clicking and collapsing all in your design browser. We could also, using the trash can, we could remove everything that's in the window, everything that's in the workspace, instead of removing just little snippets like we were with the red X. Now looking at all the zoom features, we have the standard zoom in, zoom out. We also have this display selected area, which zooms in on only what's highlighted in red. Next we have this zoom to fit, which zooms to show anything and everything that's in the window. We have reset zoom, which goes back to the default zoom, and previous zoom, which is a zoom undo button. If we want to look inside one of these boxes, we can either right-click and discover or discover recursively. Discover, by pushing that, we look one layer inside. It only goes one layer at a time. While discover recursively, as we saw with the add recursively, would open up every single module inside that layer. We can also go back by pushing hide. We can also move layer by layer by double clicking the module as well. Now if we right click wires, there's quite a few options. Starting at the top, expand net shows you the wires path through the current hierarchy. It could go forward, it could go back, it shows you the entire path. If you right click again, expand net to readers shows you only going forward where that wire will next be read, whether it's one module or multiple. Expanding that to drivers does the opposite though. It shows you where the last driver was, what last fed that input. If you want to find in structure browser, what that does, it opens up where exactly you are in the design browser in case you get lost. You can also view source to find where whatever wire you selected was initialized in the source code. And lastly, you could go to list drivers. What that does is in the console below, it shows you every single driver that's feeding an input to that wire. It tells you their path, and it gives you whatever value they're feeding it, in this case all use. So this whole time we've been using what's called hierarchy or hierarchical mode, where each layer is represented by one of these boxes or outlines. We can remove these boxes by pushing this button or going into Advanced Dataflow in hierarchical mode, and that changes to what's called flat mode. In flat mode, we see just the modules and just the wires. Pretty much, we're looking at it flat like a blueprint, where we can't tell what module or what layer the hierarchy we're in other than reading the name. Next to that, we have gray mode, which turns everything gray, and whatever you select is highlighted so that it easily pops out and lets you isolate whatever you want to look at. Next to that is the View Trace button. If you have something highlighted, it will show you all the information it has on that. So like it tells you process, it tells you the path, and any signals within it. If you have nothing highlighted, it pretty much acts like a search bar where you could search in signals, processes, and instances. If you want to remove one of those search options, you just deselect it. So if we want to search for, let's say, 0, it'll tell us all of the signals, instances, processes that have that name and show you exactly where it is through highlighting it in the window. It tells you what it is, its name, its path, and data type and current value. If you click on the path, it'll zero in on it, it'll highlight only the one area, and if you could go back by pushing that green back button. We also have this invert selection button, where if you have something selected and you push that, it inverts the selection. Next to that, we have the bookmarks, where you could add a bookmark, you could create new bookmarks, and you could save it by just naming it whatever, or you can load a previously made bookmark and push restore view, and that'll open up wherever that bookmark was. The last thing to note is that the Advanced Dataflow window is only accessible through simulation. If you end the simulation, it automatically closes and can only be reopened if you reinitialize and restart the simulation and open the window. That concludes this tutorial on the Advanced Dataflow debugging tool. Thank you for watching.